Hi. You know, money? Yeah, I ain't got a lot of it yet. But there are a lot of series that I really want to get around to reading in 2022. This video is just going to be me explaining to you why the hell I'm so excited about the series that I'm really excited for.
The fuck did you just say?
Anyways, I'll just be listing them out, telling you why I'm so excited, telling you what they are. So let's go. Okay, first up is Blue Lock. I know you've heard way too much about this because the manga's physical release is happening near the time when the anime is also releasing. They were available digitally, but the hype is of course going to be way too much because both things are going to release at the same time. Now here is why I really want to read this series. The story is essentially about the Japanese football team really sucking and then the Japanese Football Union hiring a guy called Igo Jinpachi who has a master plan called Blue Lock. Blue Lock is essentially a training regime which is going to find some of the best strikers in all of Japan, and whoever fails this Blue Lock regime test or whatever is not going to be able to represent Japan anymore. And now a main character whose name I don't remember right now is going to try to become the best football player in the world by entering the program. Now, being the best in the world kind of storyline is a little bit too vague for me because most of the times what ends up happening is that the creator loses sight of the main point of the story and their main goal just becomes to continue the series. And of course that is because their ending was so vague that they don't know how to make good calculative arcs towards that end. Why I'm truly excited for this is because one of my first animes ever was Inazuma 11, which is a football anime, but it wasn't a typical sports anime. They had superpowers and a lot of different things. It was like 10 years ago, so I don't even remember anymore. But that is probably going to be a nostalgic kick that I'm going to be getting from this series because as much as I've heard, it is not a typical sports manga. So definitely I will be on the lookout for volume 1 when it comes out on March 16th. So next up on my list is going to be Junji Ito's Uzumaki Tomie and Remina. This dude is like the face of horror mangas, and admittedly I'm not that into horror stuff like at all. In my head, people finding mangas creepy, like creeping people out with art, I don't quite buy it that much. After hearing some great things about his mangas and just my curiosity for this horror manga genre, I really have to take a look at what all of this hype is all about. Now most of his mangas are 1 to 3 volumes long, and personally I don't like that format. That's because I just can't bond with the characters if the longest I've known them is like 5 chapters. And most of the times the mangaka ends up asking way too much, like the readers being interested in like a love sort of thing or their characters dying. So yes, Junji Ito's artwork is as great as people say it is, and his stories don't ask way too much of the audience. I don't mind checking them out and definitely seeing that he has built a rather successful career off of these short horror mangas. There has to be something good about him. Now next up are gonna be the mangas that I've been most wanting to read ever since I started my manga collecting journey. I'm of course referring to Monster, 20th Century Boys and Pluto by Naoki Urasawa. Everyone on the internet that I really respect, like the opinions of the people I really respect, freaking love this guy. And I won't be able to tell you a whole lot about the mangas because you might find this weird, but I like to go in blind when it comes to critically acclaimed manga. I have done that previously with Attack on Titan. I am going to do that with Dorohedoro, Berserk, and with this. To be honest, why I actually do that is because the mangaka is really working the hardest in the beginning of the story when the characters are being built up and being introduced, because that is the time they're gonna get to connect their characters to the readers. And talking about critically acclaimed mangas, as of now, Monster is on number 5 of the all-time best manga list on myanimelist. Fun fact, a lot of people that I know who are just purely anime watchers have shifted, especially for the series, over to mangas because the anime is really old, and they've shifted especially for Naoki Urasawa's works. So yeah, that of course says a lot for the series. Next up is another highly anticipated manga for me because I believe I will be able to connect with it way more than I have connected with any other sort of slice of life kind of series. And of course I'm talking about Blue Period. I really just want to read this manga because I've been reading some heavy series lately and I like to break that pattern of heavy mangas. And honestly, I've just been wanting to get an easy to absorb slice of life kind of series that I can relate to, not 14-year-old kids getting married. So yeah, that's exactly what I believe Blue Period can provide me. As far as I know, the series is about a guy finding art as a way to get away from his monotonous lifestyle. The story is essentially going to be about him trying to cross obstacles, trying to reach his ultimate goal, which is to become an artist. For those of you who don't know me, I'm going to university for film production, which is more or less an art form only, and I believe that is the main reason why I will be able to connect with this series a lot. Next up is going to be Akira. Apparently this series is like a classic, and as far as I guess everybody can remember, all of the classics are really fucking long. Really fucking long. So it came as a shock that Akira wasn't that long. And as far as the synopsis tells me, it's something about biker gangs in Neo Tokyo and a government secret called Akira. It's gonna have some mysteries, it's gonna have some action, and it's a classic, so we gotta check it out, right? Now all of the mangas that I've just talked about are all gonna have their myanimelist pages down in the description. You can go check them out. Some of the mangas that I really want to read but just aren't available or are way too expensive are Vagabond, Berserk, Dorohedoro, Goodnight Pun Pun, and JoJo's Part 2. JoJo's Part 1 I did not like at all, so it's a big investment and a big commitment going into the other parts of JoJo, but as far as I know, it just gets really much better in the other parts. So I'm gonna give it a try. I've set an ultimatum of Part 2. If I don't like Part 2, I'm just gonna sell the whole series and get on with my life. Thank you so much for watching this video. I have a Silent Voice Spikes Family and Chainsaw Man reviews planned out, and then it'll be coming out very soon. If you want to check those out, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you here next time. Bye bye.